or to try to replicate that experience or to hold on. I mean, legit, this is another lesson in detachment. Go fucking figure. That's like one of my biggest life things. I mean, I had to come on here. I don't even have any makeup on. I just was like, I just need to start recording. I just need to start talking and letting things flow. So,
hello, my loves. This is Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multidimensional channel, teacher, healer, and author. And I am obsessed with all things metaphysical, esoteric, galactic, and of course, the healing journey. And I'm here to share my stories, my wisdom, and my teachings about being human in the illusion that we call reality. Welcome to Cosmic Blonde.
hello, my loves. OMG. Have you ever had the best night of your life? Have you ever had the most epic experience and found yourself reeling afterwards because it was so good and there's no indication, no promise that it's going to happen again? And so it's almost like you have this immediate yearning or desire to chase that feeling or to try to replicate that experience or to hold on. I mean, legit, this is another lesson in detachment. Go fucking figure. That's like one of my biggest life things. I mean, I had to come on here. I don't even have any makeup on. I just was like, I just need to start recording. I just need to start talking and letting things flow. So I have opened myself up this year in 2023 to dating after a little over 2 years of being by myself, being single by choice, really doing the work to heal, doing the work to find myself, doing the work to correct the patterns and behaviors and beliefs and awarenesses that led to the demise of my last 3 marriages. And it's never one person's fault, right? It's always, we all have responsibility. So it was time for me to take that responsibility and to really work and correct those things. But then when you start dating, it's a whole nother, it's like you never did any healing. I hate to say that, but it's what it felt like for me. It's like I didn't do anything. It's not true, right? Because we have these wider awarenesses. We have stronger boundaries. We see the red flags. We see these things. We no longer tolerate disrespect. We are no longer willing to settle. We're no longer people pleasing. And so it's a lot of us saying no to them, right? To the other person. It's a lot of us saying, you're great, you're awesome, I accept you just as you are, but you're not for me. I deserve better, or this isn't what I'm looking for. This isn't aligned for me, right? And it's a tricky line to walk because, especially for someone like me, I have no desire to judge that person. I'm not judging them. What I'm saying is you're cool, you're awesome the way you are, but it's not aligned for me, right? And that's my right. I get to do that just like anybody else does. And so dating has been exhausting for me because I have made ridiculous amounts of small talk. I've had to continuously open up about who I am and my gifts and my abilities, and that scares people. That seems to scare a lot of men because they fear what they don't understand. I tend to date men that are not like me, not super spiritual. I mean, they could have open belief systems, right? And they could be self-aware, but going into the woo side of things, right? Communicating with the other side, doing healing work, just the work that I do, the fact that my life is very public by choice. It's something that scares people sometimes, right? Because they don't understand it. So, or some of them even, treat it more like a novelty or like, a weird thing. And and whatever, like a sideshow or a trick, or I don't even know the right words here. I'm struggling to find the correct words today, so bear with me. Anyway, I've had some really good experiences. I dated a man early on for a few months. I really fell for him. I fell in love with him. It didn't work out. I dated after that, and I just get exhausted. So I would take these breaks and just not date for a while. And I recently came back from a break and I opened myself up to dating. Anyway, long story short, over the weekend, I think it was Thursday night. Was it Thursday night? Yeah, Thursday night. This man came into my inbox on one of the dating apps. And we had very quick back and forth conversation. I don't even think we probably, went back and forth maybe 5 times, some just, general stuff. And he said, I hope this isn't too soon, but I would love to take you out tomorrow night to pizza. And pizza, because I put on my profile that I like pineapple on pizza, because who doesn't like pineapple on pizza? It belongs on pizza. Anyway, I was like, it's absolutely not too soon. I love to meet right away because I don't like to waste my time. But I had kind of sort of tried to make plans with somebody else. That's a whole nother story. And I said, let me find out if it's a go. If not, I'm totally down to meet you. Turns out it was a go. I messaged him Friday morning. He sent me his phone number. I messaged him Friday morning. I said, I'm down to meet. And then literally we didn't talk all day. We made a plan to meet somewhere for pizza and we met. And I went into this dating experience much different than I have the other ones, because I'm like, okay, I'm not having a good dating experience. I need to look at how I'm approaching these dates, how I'm going in. And I had to be really honest with myself, because I was going into a lot of these dates very much with caution and reserved. And I almost can feel when I was tuning in to the previous dates, how I kind of created this barrier around me where I was kind of like in my shell. And I was like, let's see how they're going to be, if it's safe to come out. And I was like, that's not working for me. And I understand why I'm doing it. And I'm not shaming myself for doing it, but I can see why, right? And so I said, this time, we're not going to do that. We're just going to be wide open. We're going to be wide open. We're going to be a good time. We're going to be open and vulnerable. They're going to like us or they're not. Either way, I'm going to meet a person. We're going to have a conversation. We may have a meal, whatever. I'm just going to take it for what it is, right? An experience. And so that was my intention going into this. And so I get there. I get there before he does. He walks up. Again, I'm wide open. I gave him a hug. I'm bubbly. I'm excited. It's just like I'm just meeting a person. We sit down. We start to have conversation. And I notice his necklace. And there's something about his necklace. And I'm like, what is your necklace? He pulls it out. It's a fucking piece of moldavite. Moldavite. That is like the star seed beacon. I have a few small pieces of moldavite because it's really rare to get real moldavite. It's one of the most faked stones out there. It's not even a stone. It's a piece of a meteorite from space, honestly. I think it landed in Russia and they mine it, but it's moldavite is expensive. It is rare to find real moldavite, and he was wearing it, and the shit is fucking potent. I don't even wear it all the time. So that was my immediate cue that he was a starseed. And so he starts talking to me about his moldavite, and then he starts sharing more about himself. Turns out this man is a healer. He makes oils and lotions and plays with herbs and does all of these things. And I'm listening to him, and we have so much in common, and we just start conversing, and we have the same political beliefs. We have a lot of the same worldview beliefs. We both want to grow our own food, and we both believe in herbal medicine, and just the conversation was in depth and beautiful and deep and meaningful. And it was so refreshing because I have had so many dates of superficial, how long have you been single? And do you have any kids? And how long have you been married? And da, 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 da. And it's just like the same fucking questions over and over again. And while we did get into a little bit of his past or my past and what I've done and what he's done and how we've got to where we are, it came from such an organic place and it was such a beautiful experience. And the food was good. And we had a little bit of Prosecco. And we just had this beautiful conversation and this beautiful connection. And then so afterwards, we were enjoying each other's company. And I was like, I didn't want this to end. I said, do you want to go do something else? Normally, this is where I'd be like, oh, this was a great first date. Let's part ways. And I was like, I don't want this night to end. I don't want this night to end. Not yet. And so I was like, do you want to do something else? And I suggested live music because who doesn't love live music? So we ended up at a country bar, and I don't drink a lot, but when I do, I tend to drink like high end. I drink high end tequila because it's very clean and very smooth and none of the sugary stuff. We had a few drinks, we watched some dancing, we talked, we touched, we sang. We had a great time. We had such a great time. We were people watching, we were doing our thing. And then around midnight, we left. He turned on the headlights. We turned on some music and we danced in the headlights of his truck on the side of the road with people walking by, people driving by. It was an experience that I've wanted to have with a man forever, for a long time. I've never had anyone who would do that. And just have that close connection, but that openness of doing it in front of the whole wide world and not giving a crap. It was like we were the only two people. I felt like I was the only one and he was the only one. It was just us. And we were having this most beautiful experience. And we were cheek to cheek and we were laughing and smiling and we kissed. And it was so amazing. And then he drove me back to my car and we kissed again. And then he checked on me when I got home to make sure I made it home. And that was the end of it. Today is Monday. That was Friday. I have not heard from him since. And I would love to hear from him again. And I don't know if I will. But what I noticed was, and why it was so important for me to talk about this, is because I went in with the intention of being wide open and having this experience. And I had one of the best experiences of my life because I was the one who was open. I found myself attaching the next day, not right away. It's about 3:00 Saturday. And I started to feel my anxious attachment because I'm disorganized, which means I can swing between an anxious attachment and avoidant attachment. And I noticed that I was leaning more into the anxious because I hadn't heard from him. And so I sent him a message and then I didn't hear from him again. And by Sunday, I started to notice that I was reeling. I was reviewing. It was very weird because I've talked about this before, but I'm very observant of myself. I'm very self-aware. So I'm very aware of what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, how I'm behaving. And a lot of the time, I allow myself to think, feel, and behave in whatever way is naturally happening while I'm completely observant of it, because I find in doing that, I actually learn more than trying to psychoanalyze and stop myself from doing, thinking, and feeling the things. If I just allow myself to go into the reeling, to have the thoughts, to have the feelings, to do the actions in a space of observation, I learn so much faster and I'm able to course correct and not repeat it. And so what I noticed was I was watching myself review everything I said Friday night, everything I did, everything that happened, how his body language, his demeanor, his tone, his words, I was literally psychoanalyzing everything, trying to figure out what I did wrong. And that's when I realized, oh, this is shame. I'm the problem. I must have done something. I must not have been enough. It must have been me. And this is a childhood program, right? We're always healing our inner children. We're always doing parts work. Even if you don't think you are, you are. You are. I'm just going to tell you, burst your bubble. And it brought me back to the days of my abuser, which was my stepmother, and how I used to walk home from school every day, reviewing everything I did that morning. Did I put the cap on the toothpaste? Did I leave something out? Did I do something that was going to cause me to be beaten? And while these are totally two such different situations, it doesn't matter. The circumstances can always change. The energy was the same. The energy the same was I'm feeling neglected. I'm feeling abandoned. I'm feeling unwanted. I'm feeling unworthy. And so I must be the problem. What did I do? Let me review my actions. Let me review my words. Let me review my emotions and my approach to things. And because as a child, everything was on me, right? That's the program that was ingrained in me. So I'm witnessing myself doing this over the weekend. And Sunday was a hard day for me because it was so thick, and the frequency of the planet, we had a huge rise in frequency over the weekend, and which means it's like a waterfall of light coming in. It penetrates your density. It pushes shit to the surface. And when shit breaks free, right? When the light on the planet is so intense, we go through these big frequency upgrades, which aren't temporary, by the way. They're not temporary spikes. These are sustained increases in our frequency that stay. We just keep getting to a new level, a new baseline. That's all we're doing is increasing our frequency baseline on the planet. But when that happens, it's legit. Like when we go through the increase, it's like a rush of a waterfall of new light or more light. It's like all of a sudden the snowpack melts, and all of a sudden the rivers and waterfalls are flowing at full bore. That's what it's like. And it's just penetrating that density in your body. And as that density comes up, it magnetizes your field and calls in people, places, and things to mirror back to you what's happening inside of you so that you can reconcile it. Let me take a fucking breath here. Because good God, did I witness myself reeling. And then like I said, I allow myself to have these moments where I'm just observing how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking, how I'm behaving. And I let myself feel it. I let myself go through it. And once I moved through, I was like, let me take myself out to dinner. I took myself out to dinner. I'm sitting at dinner and I go, oh my God. Oh my God. The reason why I had such a good time Saturday night, or excuse me, Friday night, was because of me. It was me. And so honestly, for those of you who are single or for those of you who are dating, think about some of the best dates you've had. I could put money on 8 out of 10. It was because of you. I was the good time. I was the one who initiated some of these activities. I was the one that was open and engaging. It was me. They were just mirroring that back to me. That's all. And when I've been on these dates where I was closed off and I was guarded and I was reserved, that was being mirrored back to me in their fear, in their anxiety, in their standoffishness, in their avoidance, because I was being avoidant. And so I'm like, here I am. I've been so attached to this feeling I had, this epic night, this amazing night, this night I will never forget. It was so beautiful and so loving and so connected and so all of these things, but it was because of me. It was because of me, not because of him. He was the mirror. Now, with that said, would I like to see this man again? Absolutely. Does it hurt my heart a little bit that I haven't heard from him? I'd be lying if I said that it's not, because we are still human. I know the higher understanding that it was a mirror. It was a beautiful experience. I should be in detachment. I should let things flow. Rejection is redirection. Some people say it's God's protection. I say it's redirection, meaning let me redirect you. There's a million things I don't know about this man. For all I know, he could be married. How I know he was taking care of his sick father. Maybe something happened. Maybe he lost his phone. Maybe he broke his phone. There's 85 million things it could be, but none of them are me. Why I have not heard from this man has nothing to fucking do with me. I know that we had a great time, and I know that that was because of me. And because he mirrored that back. I was open, he was open. We had a great connection. We were in alignment. We were flowing. We were loving. It was amazing. So that helped, but I still had that sting because I am human. The human came to this planet to experience connection, to feel visceral touch, hugs. Like that's why being in nature, right, is connection. Being with other people is connection. Being isolated is not good for the human. And so when we have these moments where there's this beautiful connection, we tend to want to grab onto it and hold on to it out of fear that we won't get it back again. And so I'm still honestly working through that, right? I'm getting better every moment. But this morning I was walking and it hit me like a ton of bricks because I don't know, I was just reflecting back and I was like, I've had this experience before. It was almost like a deja vu moment. Like I've had this experience before. And it was like, oh my God, 20 years ago, actually, probably more like 22 years ago, 23 years ago. I think I was 21. I had gone to a local bar. I lived in this apartment complex, and literally walking distance was this Mexican restaurant slash bar that kind of turned into a little bit of a club at night. And some of the people I worked with would meet me there. Anyway, we went, I don't remember if it was a Friday night or a Saturday night, it doesn't really matter, but we went and they played a lot of country music and line dancing and hip hop and just like, a mix of things. And I met this man and we had the most epic, amazing night. And I didn't get his phone number and he didn't get mine. Now, mind you, this is, I don't know, 2001, 2001. The only reason why I know that is because it was the same year that Dale Earnhardt died. Anyway, I got so attached to that one night, you guys, that I had we're talking about back in the day when we had house phones with answering machines because, that's just the way we rolled. So on my answering machine, my outgoing message was like, if you are the guy that met me at this bar on this night, leave your phone number, because I had reached out to one of his friends and was like trying to get someone to track him down because I wanted to see him again. I wanted to have that connection. But the funny thing is it was me. I was the reason why that night was so good. It was so good. He did end up calling me and we did end up going out again, and it never went anywhere. It was just an amazing night. And so it brings me back to my point, which is why it's such a lesson in detachment, because sometimes we're meant to have these amazing, epic moments. And then other times we are meant to have epic seasons. And I shared a clip of us dancing, because when I knew that we were going to dance in front of the headlights, I turned my camera on and was like, I'm going to record this. I just knew it was a recordable moment. And I just put the camera down and on the front of the truck and pretended like it wasn't there. I was totally in the moment, but I wanted to capture that moment because I'm that kind of person anyway. But I shared a clip of it on social media, and all of these people, and in the words I put, I may not ever see this man again. And I had so many people reaching out and were like, his smile and the way that he was looking at you, and why aren't you ever going to see him again? And it's like, I didn't know what to say. What am I supposed to say? That he's rejecting me, that I don't know what's going on in his life, that I'm reeling? There's a million and one reasons. I don't know. But the answer that just kept coming up was coming into my head. The thing I kept hearing was, some things are meant to be a moment and other things are meant to be a season. And it's okay if this is just a moment. We will have another moment. And can you see that this moment was created by your openness? It was created by your willingness to be vulnerable, to be 100% authentic, to let your heart on be on your sleeve, to take the risk of getting hurt by just being who you are and shining your bright and being loving and bubbly and just having a great time, regardless of the outcome. Can you just be in this moment and enjoy this experience? Because that's all it is a string of now moments. And this is another reason why it is so important to be present, because in that present moment, you get to take it all in. And thankfully, I recorded it, so I get to relive that moment, right? Which sometimes is healthy, sometimes it's not healthy. But then we go into this other level of what it's like to be me and be this aware and this awake in a human illusion, right? In this human experience, because then I start going into massive contemplation. Was I in a different timeline? And now I'm shifted out of that timeline, or did he shift out of the timeline? How can I get back into the timeline? Is this what it is? Are we in different frequencies? Like, can we just not see or hear each other? Because sometimes when we are in different frequencies, we are not able to connect, right? It's like you can't make the connection because you're not in alignment with each other. So I start going through all the metaphysics and the quantum physics of, I know over the weekend we had several timeline shifts, and so many people are shifting so fast in between timelines. We're going in and out of them, like weaving through fucking traffic right now. And it's like, sometimes we're going to go into one timeline just to collect a quick thing, and we're going to be back out. We may never go back into that timeline again. And other times we're going to go into that timeline. We're going to stay in that timeline for a while, and then we're going to move into another timeline. And so I'm going over the quantum physics of it, going, okay, is there a recalibration I can do to get back into that timeline? And like, I was like, holy shit, let's just put it all down. Let's put it all down. Let's completely let go. Let's completely be here now and do what we always do. If it's meant for me, it will be. If it never comes back, if I never see or hear from him again, it was a redirect, meaning there are things I probably don't know. And while I had an epic experience with a beautiful soul, it might not be in an alignment for a season. We might have gotten exactly what we needed from each other in that moment. And I know that's true because I've wanted to have that experience of dancing in the headlights with somebody who looked at me like I fucking hung the goddamn moon. And that man, he gave it to me that night. He gave me that. That night, I felt like I hung the moon. I felt like I was the only woman in the room. I felt like I lit that man's soul on fire and he lit mine. And I know that I can have that again with somebody else because I've had it once, I can have it again. But maybe there are things I don't know. And my guides know, the universe knows. And maybe they say, you can have this beautiful experience, but it's not going to be healthy to move forward any further. And maybe in a week from now, I will see him again. Who knows? And that's the whole thing. Uncertainty. It's a beast sometimes. My whole life has been learning to be comfortable in uncertainty. And this is all uncertain, except for one thing. You know what's certain? It was me. Everything that lit me up about that night was a reflection of my energy. It was me. So while it's uncertain when that will happen again, when it's uncertain that I will meet him again, while it's uncertain that when I'll have that experience with someone else again, what is certain is it was me. It was me. It was my energy. And that brings me comfort and confidence and puts me back in my power, because I realized over the weekend, and I was aware of this as I was allowing myself, again, I was witnessing my thoughts, I was witnessing my emotions, I was witnessing my behaviors, that I was giving my power away. I was putting my power in this other person being the reason. And in witnessing and observing that, I realized, oh no, honey, no. You're the fucking prize. It was me. I'm the fucking prize. He was a mirror of that. And that means the more I can be open, the more I can be in this energy, the more I'm going to receive that back. And that is a beautiful thing. I don't know what anybody's going to get from today's episode, but I hope at some level it helps you to let go. It helps you to recognize yourself, your power, what you bring to the table. And that this experience, it has so many layers and so many facets, and it's such a visceral experience. And we have so many layers to ourselves that we have to navigate as we're constantly being ripped open and made more sensitive and more aware. It is such a balancing act. And it's not easy. It's not easy to play human. It's just not. We're all doing it together. We're all just walking each other home. So give yourself, giving myself grace, and constantly reminding myself that it's me, while not taking it personally, not taking another person's actions or behaviors personally. Because I'm no longer a mirror. He's no longer a mirror for me now, right? We're not interacting. What's being mirrored back to me is my wounding. And it's giving me an opportunity to heal that wounding, that I am enough. And that his actions speak far greater about him than they do me, just as my actions speak far greater about me than they do him. Oh, I feel complete. Let me know what you guys think about. I really want to hear some feedback on this episode. I know I'm not alone in this. And it's definitely not easy dating if you are a woo-woo queen or king out there trying to navigate being human in an illusion and having the balance of the human life and the esoteric spiritual life that we lead. So this episode, if you're resonating with this, if you have feedback, I'd love to hear it. And I'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by JohannaBurkhardt.com, where it's time to defy the limits of your mind and step into your multidimensional mastery. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. See you next time.